breaking news right now, the pursuit of a stolen truck.
Yeah, let's go up to Desmond Shaw live in SkyCal. This is going real fast, Des.
Yeah, it sure is here, Juan and Susie. This person driving like a total maniac here on the southbound 605. We have covered a lot. And Susie, this person driving like a total maniac here on the southbound 605. We have covered a lot of ground in a very record amount of time. We first heard about this in the San Fernando Valley off of like the 170 and the 5, and that was only like 20 or so minutes ago. We've been trying to catch up with it ever since. We just got overhead now in Whittier. So we went south 170, south 101, blowing through all kinds of traffic. You see we've been up at 100 miles an hour. And this is a lifted Ford Raptor truck, by the way. So a very high center of gravity here. If you make one wrong move and this truck is liable to flip over, like we saw that last suspect that we left in Woodland Hills last hour. So a very, very dangerous one here, and not just a high center of gravity. I mean, he's driving it like it's a Ferrari, but this is a lot more like a tank than a Ferrari here. 115 miles an hour, totally ridiculous. It was an LAPD pursuit, but it's now CHP that has taken over on this one. An allegedly stolen truck, a very nice, expensive one here, a high-end Ford Raptor truck that is lifted and flying along southbound on the 605. Juan, Susie, and Mike.
And it's incredible to know, once again, you're talking the 170 and the 5, now in Whittier, covering an incredible amount of ground here at very high speeds. We have our Mike Rogers on the desk also monitoring the situation here. Mike, this is extra dangerous just with the type of truck that we're dealing with.
Yeah, extra dangerous. As Desmond mentioned, the high center of gravity. We know that it's lifted. We know that it's going triple-digit speeds. That is what has taken us, in addition to the marine layer, but that is what has taken us so long to get overhead of this, is once we cleared that marine layer, then we were just having trouble keeping up with this guy. I mean, he's really hauling. We're in a construction zone now, it appears. The light is still coming from the LAPD helicopter overhead.
Oh, yeah, those lanes are starting to narrow.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to hit some...
into the construction zone. Oh, my God. Oh, boy. Yeah, they're probably going to have to back off this pursuit while he's in the construction zone at this point. They probably would have anyway. I mean, we've got the cone pattern set up. I don't know where the Caltrans workers are out here, but this is just insanely frightening watching this person now inside of the construction zone. So their helicopter's going to stay overhead on this one while they can, and then we'll see if they re-engage the ground units when they get back out of this. Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. Right, just nearly wiped out that stationary truck right there while he was going 60 miles an hour. This is a huge vehicle that can do a lot of damage. He's getting off the freeway now at Washington Boulevard. Let's see where they go right now. I'm just happy he's out of that work zone at least, but that must have been just terrifying for those highway workers that were out there. As we're now off of, it looks like Slauson Avenue now in the Whittier area. An incredibly close call there. I have to imagine that the suspect is shaken by that close call as well.
We talk about cone zones here in Southern California. We see them so often, especially late at night on our freeways. But can you imagine working on the freeway right now, having that much distance away from the traffic, and then having a car plow into that and coming straight for you?
And you have no idea what it is, right?
Exactly.
There's sometimes...
Hello guys, thanks for tuning in to my live streaming. This pursuit started about 15-20 minutes ago in the area of the valley. This pursuit went all the way from the 605 freeway southbound, reaching speeds at 90 to 100 miles an hour. And at first, he was speeding slow at 60 miles an hour. Now almost hitting that Ford Edge. I love that Ford Edge. I wish I could get a Lincoln Town Car to make a video of it. But if I buy it, I would make a video of myself test driving it. This is a pursuit taking place right now. He hit a construction cone earlier on and almost killed a construction worker and took out one construction cone going past the construction cones. Now it's due to because it's a construction work season. So this is where the time of day it happens. When we were on our road trip almost 2 years ago, I pretended to tell them better hurry up and fix the roads. And we have seen this suspect speed up now. The driver eventually they've pulled off. The police not some from the helicopter overhead, and it's very dangerous. Why the CHP units not chasing them behind, going the wrong side of the road? And now he's on the red lights now, going on the red light, going around traffic, hitting the brakes. And I can tell you one thing, what they're going to do right here, still, in the Pico Rivera area, right now, continuing northbound on Rosemead, and they really hate to see a suspect like this. And I can tell you, inside and kind of getting away, insane driving, speeding at 100 miles per hour in Whittier on Rosemead Boulevard. There's no one behind the suspect. they're continuing to drive crazy, 80, 90 miles an hour. And I can tell you, on surface streets so far away, backing off. The suspect gets cool. Thank goodness nobody's hurt. And I can tell you, he's turning left. They're going to stay with the vehicle. They're going to stay with the Ford truck. One person in that truck, they do know that they have they don't know when, so basically they were listening earlier. CHP had asked before they took it over, before they got overhead, and the suspect, oh my God, almost hitting a car. What is he doing? It's a known suspect, acting like a class clown. The police and the news helicopters following overhead. It's a high-profile truck. Almost took those turns, almost lost control. To answer that question, no. Anything about the driver? They've asked specifically. They would catch up to that suspect sooner or later. And I can tell you, they don't know how many people inside that car. And they have not heard any definite number also that the law enforcement know anything about the person behind the wheel, going on, running the red light, almost crashed the car. Absolutely, especially since they're not on the freeway, this is a big risk versus reward and law enforcement chases. When they decided to give it up, or they go ahead and keep following him when they're being called off for safety reasons, when to chase that suspect whenever they want to, and when not to chase whenever they're not going to. Because the construction zones almost crashed into them, almost lost control at 60 plus miles an hour or so. I think, no, I don't want to. They have maybe talked about to set up spike strips. They need to set up a spike strips, and the police units needs to come and get involved. I'm zooming in because I don't want to show that phone number to you guys, because I really don't. If I do, I'm going to be in big trouble, because I don't want that. Because this is what's happening right now. Going around the winding roads, there's a lights and sirens from the police. Going on the winding roads on Gallatin Boulevard and Whittier, and I can tell you, this is what's been so dangerous. Going into this neighborhood streets, 75 miles an hour. They're not going to get overhead with this marine layer. This is actual tracking by the CHP. Wow. Stopping for traffic. Wow. Because you folks out there need to be careful. You got to speed up and so the suspect can stop. Because if he does, the truck will hit those cars. Now making a U-turn, they're still aware of it, and that's the problem. He's lost, he doesn't know where he's going to go, and there's a marine cloud layer. It's going to be difficult for the police and the news helicopters to fly overhead. And I can tell you, going around commuters, making a U-turn back on Rosemead Boulevard, and I can tell you, this is a big factor, whatever reasons they have. They're having to turn back around it, like I'm saying right now. Whittier Narrows area, not too far, because it's sometimes when there's a marine clear due to that weather conditions of foggy airspace, thick cloud gets into their way. I can tell you they're not going to stay on top of this if they hit some thick clouds. It's a narrow area what the suspect was thinking. They're so far away. This is pretty aimless at this point, still constantly picking up speed. It's a constant thing. And the person is going right. Often see these people go to these familiar roads, driving, especially at speeds. And he might be able to maneuver a bit better. They don't know if this person lives in this area or trying to get away as fast as they can. But guess what? They're not going to outsmart that news helicopter. It's a little darker. They don't see well lit road. It's a little more desolate here. Not a lot of traffic. So dangerous, especially if someone is going at a very high rate of speed. Earlier on, he was speeding at, he was going at 100 miles per hour, almost hits that Ford edge right there. I can tell you that. Going around that construction zone, looking at the police helicopter still overhead, and stare still, because I know that they're working on right now is they're going to steal very, very quickly at this kind, because they talk about the pit maneuver, and when this kind of thing goes into an accident, suspect might end up killing somebody or entering somebody or crashing into somebody. DJ Marshmallow had a Ford 6x6 Raptor truck, stolen truck that's in a pursuit right now. And I've done that on my first YouTube channel with 191 subscribers on it. Let's see if I upgrade it to Boost Max and then do all those things so I can follow the guidelines and follow what that note says that I followed it on my phone. So in fact, you might want to check out that on my first YouTube channel since 2021, 4 years ago. I mean, 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago in December of 2021. Like in eastbound to Garvey Avenue in San Gabriel Valley, they could catch back in the weather. If the weather will improve out on a Garvey Avenue on a major street, that will be okay. But if it's not, they're not going to keep up with it unless it's not improving. Unless it's not improving as well. Hitting the brakes once again, and now these speeds. I mean, look, going right through a red light with no lights on, you can't see somebody, you're gonna crash into somebody, and you might be blind. Slow down a little bit. Still, too fast on the surface streets makes them wonder. There's no one behind them. Those units have not been on the ground with this person for a very long time. They know they picked this up. This pursuit has been going on for the past 20-25 minutes. This pursuit has been going on for the past 20 to 25 minutes since the police. I'm gonna say it again. This pursuit has been going on for the past 20 to 25 minutes or so since the police started this chase. This is what happens when he was on the 605 freeway southbound. 605 freeway southbound. Started to pick up speeds at 90 to 110 miles per hour. Perhaps this would deter law enforcement from above. They might not see that they have a tough time seeing. He's in a black truck. It's a Ford Raptor. Maybe it thinks that it's going to be a little bit more difficult to them to spot this car. No. Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, they need to put an end to this before he kills someone. Good faking. Good one. I like that. I love it. Oh no. I'm not doing this. I'm not showing this phone number to you because they're gonna kind of let him be, to this point. Let him do what he wants until he runs out of gas. The way he's been driving has decided they have not taken the risk. They don't want to agitate him even more, especially when. Well, yeah, they can do this as they continue to watch this here. And they're having some cloud issues here with their shot a little bit further. And I know they got some street lights on but he's blacked out. They aren't seeing him. Hitting the brakes so hard. Since this started right around in the 5 freeway and in the 170 freeway in San Gabriel Valley, it was quite a distance away to know where you might know where he was headed. The police tried to catch up to them but failed. They're going to let him be. They're going to leave him alone for now. It's going to be police and the news helicopters following them overhead. And I can tell you, once they get to that area, once he gets to that dead end in the next half hour, they're going to get some more information. Might let you listen now.
Whoa. What's that? I just built a budgeting app in Base 44.
Guys, Nina just built an app.
Yeah, it's not so low that we can't get through, but the problem is that we can't really get above law enforcement like we usually do, so we're having to kind of give them a more lateral space right now, so we're not able to be like as directly overhead right now. But look, I mean, we're still at 70 miles an hour. The lights are off. Santa Anita Avenue, obviously a very busy street here as we're making our way towards Arcadia. We've already crossed the 60 and the 10. We're going to be up towards the 210 here. Now he makes that turn here onto Hondo Parkway, so that's going to divert us away from the 210 freeway. And yeah, what is the play for the suspect right here? There hasn't been anyone. He must realize that there hasn't been anyone below him for quite some time. All right, we're really having trouble here with with the truck. I think he's making a southbound turn. Yeah, and we could get
So
the
dark.
spotlight back from. You see it right there. They're kind of flashing it on and off, and I think they're kind of trying really hard not to, intimidate or agitate the suspect. But now we're, in like a residential area here where these streets might not go through all the way. There we go. We have a little bit of the spotlight right now, but black vehicle, dark streets, no lights on, 50 miles an hour here. If someone's out here walking their dog late at night or out for a bike ride or whatever, and she's just driving around aimlessly, how does this not end in a crash like this? I think the lights, I think he drove into a cul-de-sac here. This is what I was thinking. Okay, vehicle stopped. Let's just hope the thing gets out and runs right
he's
now.
backing up.
No, he's reversing. Yeah, reversing and continuing. We really would have loved to have just seen the suspect get out and end this super dangerous situation. But, and you can see just how much space they have right now with no units behind them on the ground. Just that spotlight overhead here, but small surface streets here kind of in the Arcadia area. I mean, 75 miles an hour? Just absolute insanity.
Really, and as Desmond was just talking about, what is the end game here? Is he planning to just perhaps pull over right now
Slammed his
and
brakes.
get out, perhaps, and why here, right? Are they out?
Well, I think
He's backing up.
I can't tell what they were doing there. Like, it almost looked. You guys have to go back and look. I don't know if it was a shadow or if they dropped someone off there or
That's what I was wondering too.
what just happened, but it almost looked like someone else might have gotten out.
Is he
and
going back to the
descended
cul-de-sac?
versus now back on the run, trying to get out of this neighborhood. I think he kind of got himself into a little bit of a maze here, trying to get themselves out. Because a lot of these streets probably are not going to go through all the way, but you see how much space they have. There are no authorities actively in pursuit on the ground, so that's why. Of course, we don't want to see someone get away, but we'd rather see them get out and run than slam into an innocent person and see a really bad ending.
Mike, you're off the phone. Did you get any info?
Yeah, so I just talked to the lieutenant over at Foothill Station. He was gracious enough to take my call while he's still trying to sort all of this out. But he tells me that it was their George units, which we've talked about before. It's the Foothill gang units that actually ran the plate. The plate comes back what's called cold plated. So essentially, the plate that is on this truck does not belong to the truck, which is a very strong indication that it's what's code 37 or stolen. So that's why they originally started chasing it. So we don't have any of the details about what did the plate come back to, what's the card supposed to be on, what was the plate reported stolen, or what's the scenario here. But that's why they don't know much about the driver, is because this wasn't a typical scenario where the plate matches the truck and you have somebody that reported it stolen. Usually if you have a reported stolen, you can go pull that report and figure out the circumstances of how it was taken, when it was taken, where it was taken, all of those things. But because this is a cold plate and because the plate just doesn't match the truck, they don't really have a lot of information about when that swap happened, who may have swapped it, and all of those details that you might get when you have a more traditional type of stolen vehicle report. So, go ahead, sorry.
So do we know, Mike, if it was a gang unit actually chasing this person initially and then they found out this car is stolen? Or
that was the reason.
Go undercover.
And once this is all said and done, the way that they'll have to figure that is they'll have to run the VIN number. So once, if this ends, or, if it ends in time for law enforcement to get here, or the truck gets abandoned or what have you, that's when they'll be able to run the VIN number and figure out kind of the background of this truck and where it was taken from, and did anybody actually report it stolen, or is it just a plate situation, or what have you.
Des, it's so dark down there. Are you still in a neighborhood?
Apparently you can go from 0 to a complete site in just a single prompt with Wix Harmony. I don't know if this is going to be possible, or Vibe Code.
It was on Duarte Road here on California Street, kind of paralleling the 210 freeway here just to the south. Just continuing through these neighborhoods, we saw some wrong way driving there for a second as well, and the lights are still off. It's got to be difficult for the suspect to continue this up as well here as we go underneath the Gold Line tracks. Just going right through it, gone through so many different red lights at very high speeds, barely slowing down at any juncture here as we're making our way into the Monrovia area. And again, we're dealing with those clouds and law enforcement space here, so doing our best to try to keep up with this. Looks like they just made a southbound turn here as down to, this is the slowest I think that we've seen the suspect going right now, but again, just so far away from where this originated and wondering how much longer this can go on. Obviously, this is a gas-sucking vehicle as well. A big Ford Raptor here, definitely not an economy car. So we hope that the gas tank was already on the lower end, and then with the way that they've been driving it as well, they're definitely burning through that gasoline pretty fast. So that's maybe
here, so you don't damage your property down here.
These vehicles also have a very high capacity, so the tank was stopped off, but he's got plenty of gas, making a stop. Looks like he's making another turn here onto Monterey Avenue. So just aimless driving, headlights off, a big tank of a truck here, so much danger, just random maneuvers. Law enforcement still doing an amazing job with their spotlight, keeping up with this. But still, no units on the ground on this one.
Desmond, the size of this truck, would you know if this is a V8? Is this something like you're saying? Is it a gas guzzler? I'm guessing it might be, right?
Yeah, definitely. And this is a Raptor, which is like the higher performance vehicle as well. I mean, the suspect really clearly has no idea what they want to do here, making U-turns all over the place again, or they're thinking that they can ditch the helicopter with this, but it hasn't worked so far. So, yeah, I'm not much of a pickup truck person, but I'm pretty sure Raptor is like the top end of the lineup for the F-150. So I'm not sure if it's turbocharged or supercharged, but pretty quick, even for a big tank of a pickup truck. They are surprisingly nimble, and I mean, you saw how quickly that vehicle is accelerating to up over 100 miles an hour. But it's just awful seeing this at 60 miles an hour. We're back in residential zones. You see the crosswalks. These are narrow streets, no lights on. The only saving grace here with the police helicopter having their spotlight on, hopefully illuminating the danger to anyone who just might be out here. One wrong move by a pedestrian or something, and it's going to be a really bad ending.
It makes you wonder if this person is staying on surface streets and no longer on the freeways so that he or she can hide from the police, from law enforcement officials, because of the fact that there are so many dark areas, right, on these surface streets in these neighborhoods. And on the freeways, you often get that, the spot right on you, the light right on you from law enforcement officials. So maybe that's their plan right now, to just, drive around in circles aimlessly in this neighborhood in the San Diego Valley until, the law enforcement says, we'll give it up too.
Well, what's scary here, Susie, is he's in the neighborhood here, dark streets. He's blowing through stop signs one after the other. So dangerous for anybody who may cross his path here. Here he comes to a quick stop there before making a left-hand turn. And again, slowing down. Could he have hit he's making another turn, Mike.
Yeah, he is. And I'm looking I'm just texting back and forth with a couple of our viewers here. So we've got a lot of texts to the desk, but basically one person wants us to know that this is a high-performance Ford Raptor, and it will handle as best as you drive it, right? It is that kind of thing. I also got a text from Bernie, who lives in San Gabriel, and said that when that car stopped, remember Desmond thought somebody got out? Bernie says they did see somebody get out, that they were wearing a white shirt. The driver, the door on the truck opened, someone jumped out and took off. Now, she says she lives in, or Bernie, I'm not sure if it's he or she, but lives in that area and witnessed that happening. So lots of people saying somebody else saw it, said they saw it, he was going really fast. Lots of questions about asking, spike strips, things like that. All of those, spike strips could be a possibility, but somebody's got to chase him in order for them to do that. And right now, that's not happening.
So it wasn't so random, Mike, that he came into this neighborhood and hit a cul-de-sac if he dropped somebody off.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. He spent kind of a bit of time in that area, and maybe whoever that person is lives nearby or knows somebody in that area that kind of wanted to have that, safe spot and get out. So we didn't hear any mention of it at the LAPD helicopter. It's unclear if they sent units back to try to figure out who that person was, but obviously LAPD is kind of sticking with the truck here as we are working our way further eastbound.
Not really leaving this area, not leaving this neighborhood, not leaving on the freeway, as we saw at the beginning of this pursuit. As we mentioned, this is around the 170 to 5 freeway in the San Fernando Valley where we picked it up. And, they drove down quite a ways, and we've been wondering if this person is going to run out of gas at any point after driving so far. But it looks like they keep going. Again, speeds lower than before. When we were first on this, on surface streets, we were talking about 70 miles per hour sometimes on surface streets, just blasting through red lights on the wrong side of the road. So many close calls with cars. And now just sort of driving aimlessly, but maybe with some aim. Who knows? Maybe they know this neighborhood very well, as we saw them perhaps drop someone off earlier, someone getting out of this car. We're not sure, but a viewer had mentioned that they had seen that.
And Susie, we saw triple-digit speeds on the freeways, right? Blowing right through a cone zone. Didn't bother him, didn't slow him down at all. There was some workers out there working on the freeway tonight when this driver in a stolen truck plowed right through, looked so dangerous. And again, even when he hit surface streets, speeds didn't vary too much. It was still going at high rates of speed that, in fact, officers on the ground had to pull back.
Let's go back upstairs now to Desmond Shaw live in SkyCal. Desmond, what are we looking at here?
This game, you're not ready for it.
Well, just trying to catch up with the suspect here as we're pretty close to the Bradbury neighborhood, arguably the nicest neighborhood of the San Gabriel Valley. Lots of equestrian properties up in here. But again, just kind of aimless driving. We saw him stop and then throw it into reverse, and now kind of maybe, I don't know if they're lost in this neighborhood off of Royal Oaks Drive. That's definitely in the Bradbury neighborhood. Speeds are, fortunately pretty slow, but not all of these streets are going to go through, kind of like those cul-de-sacs that they were just in Arcadia. So still not sure what they're thinking. I mean, frankly, they've had a lot of different opportunities where they probably could have gotten out and run and, with just the helicopter overhead. But they have decided not to do that and just to, continue with this is... here we go again. And you see even the helicopter's having some trouble. And look, he gets up to the neighborhood and then just turns back around. I think he hit another cul-de-sac right here. Yeah, Braywood Drive. Yeah. So this suspect is running into a lot of dead ends. And there's definitely going to be here as we're kind of up against, the foothills of the San Gabriel Mountains. So aimless driving continues here. We've got a lot of trees that we're trying to see under and dealing with clouds as well as trying to give law enforcement some space. It's definitely getting tough to keep up with the suspect, but they're also just okay. Give me 1 second here. Yep. You see, just as we're looking from like a half mile or so away, but, they continue, and yeah, here we are. But gosh, the lights off, and speeds are really, really low now at this point, and that may just be too because the suspect doesn't have their lights on, and it's so dark out here that they can't see where they're going. So it's really a miracle that this person hasn't crashed already. We had that super close call in the construction zone that was absolutely insane, and still just winding their way around the Bradbury neighborhood. I think he just go through a fence. I think he just went through a fence right there. It looked like, I couldn't tell actually. I saw a fence post there, but yeah, he's going up kind of an alley, and I mean, where's this going to go? We'll see where this spits him out if it does.
Are there any flood control areas up there, you think, maybe, that fencing could have been blocking off, or an area where water kind of congregates when it rains?
It's just so dark out there. It's so hard to tell. But on the right side of your screen, Desmond was just referring to this when it was so scary. We were holding our breath as this person was driving so fast on the freeway, first on the left-hand side there, and then in the construction zone as those lanes narrow, there they go, right into that area where they're not supposed to go into. It's so close to people who are working there on the freeway. Boy, oh boy, and look at that right there.
We often say, slow for the cone zone, slow down for the cone zone. It's a big deal when you see these workers out there on the freeways. They work late at night, obviously, to create less an impact on traffic, but it's still dark out there. It's still dangerous, and we saw what could possibly happen tonight during this high-speed pursuit of a stolen truck that seems to be going nonstop now, a little aimlessly there in the San Gabriel Valley. We're still in San Gabriel Valley, Upper San Gabriel Valley, off the mountain.
We're just showing you some of those many close calls that we saw tonight during the course of this pursuit. The driver running red lights, driving without their lights on around other cars, speeding around other cars on the wrong side of the road several times. And now, as you mentioned, Juan, they've been driving in the same neighborhood in the San Gabriel Valley. We believe that they may have dropped someone off in a neighborhood. A viewer alerted us to that. They believe that that's what they witnessed. It's unclear right now, not confirmed, but we do know that this person is staying in this area for whatever reason, and oftentimes what we do see is this kind of driving because they are familiar with this area. It's their neighborhood. They know the ins and outs, the alleyways, the smaller streets where they can possibly hide or evade police. And we've been seeing the same type of driving for a long time now.
That's right. And it was gang units who apparently realized that they had run the plate, and as Mike was telling us, it came back as cold-plated, which means that the plate that was on that truck did not belong to the truck that it was on. It didn't match what it should be. So who knows how long this truck has been reported stolen, from where it was taken from, whether it was taken off a dealership or perhaps a private home or from an individual. We don't know this. But apparently this driver has had the truck long enough to switch out the license plates to hopefully fool people into thinking it's not a stolen truck.
And sometimes guys too, and again, we just don't know the circumstances of this guy as we're kind of deep in the foothills of Monrovia now, but when you deal with larger kind of criminal elements, that's not an uncommon practice, is to just have license plates around that you can swap and put on a car and throw everybody off, and and that means that they don't know who actually is in that car. Which brings us a question I want to show it, Kelly, if you can. Eden sent us a text to the desk here and asked a question about potential tactics and what they could do later. I think there we go. It says, are they wanting to arrest him another day if he gets away? That's usually a pretty good option for law enforcement. The problem here is they don't know who the guy is. Right, and that's what we were kind of talking about earlier, is if this was a more traditional stolen report, if this was a suspect that was known to the victim, or they had any information about who the suspect was, certainly they would try maybe to go get him another day, but because they don't know that, and they can't go back after him another day. And it looks like he may have gone up on a cul-de-sac, and another one here, Granite and Hillcrest, which I know Des is trying to get eyes on, but the LAPD airship now moving back westbound Hillcrest near Canyon Boulevard. So, it's very dark up there. We're dealing with the clouds. There's a lot of airspace issues. It's crowded. There's the truck. He's blacked out in a black truck in a dark neighborhood, and it is problematic for us to see it. The LAPD airship is doing a great job of keeping eyes on it, but it's tough. I did hear them ask, like, can we get Monrovia PD kind of in the area? I think that they're hoping that this guy is eventually going to just kind of give it up, and then they want those officers to be in the area. It's interesting because usually when we see people go into neighborhoods, they're looking for an opportunity to bail. This guy has been very, very deep in these neighborhoods for a long time. Yeah. And you would think that they would, attempt to use that opportunity to get out and run, and they just haven't, which is kind of interesting, and it makes you wonder. Obviously, we never know what these people are thinking.
Yeah, but are they familiar with this area? Are they, in fact? Maybe they're not.
And that's what we, sorry, I'm just listening to the radio. At first, they got into the kind of the Bradbury area, and then, maybe they know that area, but now they're further west, and they're in Monrovia, and so you kind of think, like, how many neighborhoods do they actually know that they could be trying to do this? And again, as we're kind of up there, but it's weird, they keep trying to go north, and so now they're up at Melrose Avenue and West Scenic Drive. I mean, they are right against the base of the mountain.
Yeah. So Mike, unless it's dumb luck, this guy must know that the streets here are pretty dark, as we're seeing here. Other than maybe a few street lights, some landscape lighting, you really don't see much lighting down here.
Yeah, you don't see much lighting at all, and it's weird because he keeps, like, it almost feels like he's intentionally pulling into these cul-de-sacs, but it's very strange because he's up near that West Scenic and Alta Vista Avenue. It looks like he may be trying to go kind of, and I'm just basing this on what I see from the police helicopter, up Alta Vista Avenue, which will take him deep into, the foothills of Monrovia, and it's actually a pretty windy road that will lend him, so Alta Vista Avenue there, Des, and then it goes kind of up into the mountains a little bit.
Is that him right there?
That's the taillights of the truck. So you'll see, and Des, if you want to actually pull that back up, we can kind of show people where that leads, and that road that kind of winds its way around and up into the corner there. So we're really stretching the limits of the city here, if you will, as we kind of really push our way up against the mountains.
Yeah, look, if he goes on Patricia Way, it kind of dead ends there.
See what Des is looking at? That's the kind of topography of the area that they're dealing with, which, eventually LAPD is not going to be wanting to be flying that close to the mountain. They're going to have some issues with that. Yeah. So, I don't know, maybe him driving so close to the foothills has been him looking for an opportunity to get into the mountain and, maybe ditch it there.
Another big question we have tonight, Mike, is, the fact that this is a stolen truck pursuit, the want. Yeah. But we don't know what else this person might be running from.
Right. And that's
what else they did.
And that's part of the idea, right? If they don't know who the person is, they don't know who the truck belongs to, they don't know any of that. I mean, is the truck actually stolen, or has it been used in a ton of crimes and I don't want the license plate attached to it? Because you remember, if this was not that stealing a truck isn't a serious crime or a cold plate, but if the license plate came back and it was an assault with a deadly weapon or, a violent crime, you likely would not have had law enforcement break off the way they have, and they may be chasing it harder. Maybe that was the thought process here, is if I don't have the plate on it, they don't really know what I've done with this truck, and, et cetera, and who knows? I mean, maybe that's giving the guy...
Et cetera, pull it together, my friend. Okay, there you go. This is a pursuit taking place. The pursuit went on for about 30 minutes. The pursuit going on for about 30 minutes since the police started this chase. It was stolen from 3 things: dealership, private home, or from the individual. The LAPD air unit and the news helicopter done a great job. They're doing a fantastic job. The witnesses sent so many texts, questions. Nothing wrong with that. I get that. How about they get them another day or two to arrest them? No, that could catch up to the next newscast tomorrow morning as well. And then they send a text to the news desk at CBS LA. I like that, the channel right there. It winds his way around to the mountains because they're going to be having some issues up there with some hilltops here. They're going into some mountains, some weather cloud issues. I can tell you this right now, when they cannot fly on top of that, it's too difficult for them to fly due to that spring weather conditions. And I can tell you the driver eventually didn't know where he's at right now. He was speeding up, he didn't kill somebody, thank goodness. LAPD had previously kind of asked him to get ready into place if the guy was going to come back. If the guy was going to come back, maybe potentially back down on them. He was on Myrtle, and the LAPD ship kind of coming out of the foothill area now. They've done a number going up to the San Gabriel Valley after the San Fernando Valley. And my Myrtle and Hill Crest, that was a police unit that was behind that truck, and then he still blacked out the unit that was coming up behind him. Unclear how long that unit is going to be behind that suspect for now. Now they're getting away from the clouds, thank goodness. They're continuing to watch that now, joining us from the pursuit, and I can tell you right now is the suspect speeding up, now getting away, now coming back towards them, now taunting these helicopters. I don't know what's going on with them, what they've seen in this world, and now what is this suspect doing? Now going on these train tracks, trying to get home or trying to go somewhere. This is like a metro goal line here, now making a U-turn. That train could take 5 or 10 minutes to go slow, and now he's speeding up. They're right by the City of Cancer Center. Wow, that's for treatment for patients for women that get sick. Well, then maybe they were going to try and go into that big parking structure. That suspect had a lot of opportunities to get away, or at least they just did a big side quest up into the San Gabriel Valley, and then I keep saying it. They tried to get behind that truck, but got away from the police. But it didn't work because they have some earlier video they believed to be extremely close call inside of CalR Workstone that was on the 605 southbound freeway near Washington. Now going straight on Duarte Road, Upper San Gabriel Valley. Wow! Oh my God! Almost killing somebody. He got off the freeway, then turned the lights off. They've had this blacked out with no lights with the truck. Killed, almost hits an SUV, swerved around by avoiding an accident. And I can tell you the passenger was dropped off. They believe it was in the Arcadia area, and that appeared to happen. It continues on and on. It's been going on for quite some time, for about 35 to 40 minutes since they've started this chase. Hopefully runs out of gas. Speeds over 60 miles an hour. There was a police unit. The police unit was going to get involved in this. The pursuit started in the San Fernando Valley, had toured all across the San Gabriel Valley. Now they know it. It appears that since they've been on the air, they've seen any attempts to stop this vehicle through mechanisms, and the SAR twists and turns, getting out of control, almost didn't know what's coming up. Those commuters were very scared. Nobody was out in the lights as well. Not like nobody's out there in the middle of the night. No heavy traffic, no hard traffic, none of that. Light traffic is okay. Crossing underneath the southbound 210 freeway. Now he's gonna keep going straight. And I can tell you, nobody's out there involved. Thank goodness they got home from work and they got out of school. They got home from work or an after school work that I'm planning to find one soon because I'm working at a library to clean stock books. And they've had to attempt this on the ground. They stole this CHP on the freeway. It was half an hour ago. They've talked to the lieutenant over at LAPD's Food Hill Division. They're the ones that started this. So the pursuit started half an hour ago in the San Fernando Valley area. Got on the 605 freeway southbound, and I can tell. And the suspect was nearly plowed right into those. He could have killed a construction worker. That could be assault. You could get sentenced to someone will serve 7 years in prison if someone kills a highway construction worker. They attempted that. It didn't work. It did not stop him. He didn't stop. The issues is they've been having to go through these really, really dark foothill streets, and the cloud layer is making things difficult for them, for the police helicopters, the news helicopters, and some same altitude, keeping their distance, giving them some room. It's going to be difficult for the cloud layer to let them go through because you could fly or lose control of your helicopter and never do your broadcasting. Very funny. And that's the problem, of course. Sound like a quack quack mimicking sound. I mimic myself that half hour-ish. Now it's been going on for about 35. This pursuit has been going on for about 35 minutes or so since the police started this case. Now going on for about 40 minutes. 40 to 45 minutes since they've started this chase. Did a U-turn right now. Going back up again, I can tell you, over and over. Been on the circles for the last several minutes. Hit a dead end. He did that for a while too. Kept turning. Got into the cul-de-sacs. Dropped off the passenger. Took the passenger home. Didn't want to be involved in this pursuit. Took the individual home. They sent him home. Him or her home. It's very difficult to make out. It was a dead-end street. Hasn't been able to do anything. It's hard for the law enforcement to keep eyes on the suspect, Hillcrest and Encinas, and they're continuing to work his way westbound through Myrtle. They did say that before. They did have eyes on them in the air, and they could have, but the mountains, of course, that's been making things difficult for the LAPD airship to be involved. They have not been involved in this. The LAPD cruisers was not involved in this pursuit this whole entire time. They were not. They did not box the suspect in. They did not pick up the pursuit. It was too dangerous. They did back off. As I said, they leave the suspect alone for a while. Now, the PD ship in the foothill, they were on a Primrose now, and I can tell you, they were on the premises now. They've been doing a great job following that truck overhead. The news helicopter is doing an okay job, fantastic job. Somewhere in the area, and he keeps going at high speeds, acting like this was an Indy 500 race. On both sides, you see the news helicopters and the police helicopters. Another major street, they didn't understand the point of going up into the mountains. I don't understand. Why would they go up into the mountains? Continuing to have the lights up, I don't know. Maybe it's the problem, I guess, they're having to switch hilltops. Then going at 60, 70 miles an hour, risking, definitely crashing, and now gambling everyone else's life, not only his life, jeopardizing everybody's life. Thank goodness he didn't run over people. Nobody's outside in the streets. Everybody's at home watching the pursuit, and they're watching my live stream. Please watch the live stream. If you're tuning in, thanks for joining us. I was running a little bit late. I made it early, so I guess you could tell that. This is what happens when the pursuit. This is what happens when we're doing a live streaming instead of doing a storage video. So how about that? Now it's because he was pretty close to that mountains. They shoot this into the Mount Wilson. The helicopters was keeping track. Wow, I cannot. Folks are working to move him over. They're continuing eastbound on Foothill Boulevard from Santa Anita Avenue. A bit earlier, they were on the freeway at 605 freeway southbound. The helicopter lost signal here. They were at the north end of San Fernando Valley. Been in this area now. Made it from the north out of the San Fernando Valley. He's been in this area, for about he was pursued suspect was on the run for about 50 minutes since they've started this chase. It's been going on for at least 55-60 minutes for almost an hour now. On Foothill Boulevard, they were on the run. Now going like he was earlier on, going past traffic lights, no traffic in the middle, no cars in the middle of the night. Peaceful, quiet street. When I was at school over a month ago, I was thinking about, I would go peaceful. I would go peaceful protesting. In the next 365 days, I'm going to convince my parents to take me to the city hall so I can go up to protest and do my reporting on the air if I have my microphone with me to order it. So this what's been on. The chances he's taking it, many chances are feasible. And then this, lights out, no lights on, continuing to parallel the 210 freeway once again in the 605 freeway, and now he was almost killed a highway construction workers, interrupted them when they were doing some work, plowed right into them, and now this was a big problem for the suspect. They were going to catch him in a day or two. Why won't they? They're going to put an end to this right now in the next several hours. The police helicopter with the night sun overhead. Veteran tactical flight officer in there with police spotlight 1623 police air unit number. That's the helicopter number for now on. I don't want to put so many addresses. I'm going to say police air unit number 16 with the night sun veteran tactical flight overhead. So it was last week or so when I did my police chase last weekend that it was a Grand Theft Auto. If you check it out, please check it out right there. Sorry, I apologize for that. My nails were too long. So I'm going to tell you, they could catch up back with them here. Wow, going into these neighborhood streets. We're going to let you listen now.
Thank goodness it's at least late at night and there are pedestrians walking around that we can see and a lot of traffic, because he's really not taking any kind of consideration, any kind of safety considerations.
It makes you wonder.
Absolutely not. I mean, look at how we can. We can barely even see, the contrast of the truck with the black asphalt and the lack of lighting right there. So there's no way that anyone's going to be able to see this guy going, especially if he's going 60, 70 miles an hour with no lights on, on surface streets. One wrong lane change and this ends in a really nasty crash as we kind of go underneath the 210 freeway right now.
Has he attempted to go to a neighborhood, somewhere that he could possibly be familiar? How sometimes they drive around and just wait to maybe get out and
there was
or stop at least.
Yeah, he did pull in right side of your screen right there. When he did this really weird maneuver at Tyler and Rockfield in the San Gabriel Valley. We actually had a viewer who said they lived in the area and thought that they saw a passenger get out at that point, because he did some strange maneuvers, backed in, got out, went to a cul-de-sac, all these kind of weird different things here before eventually just continuing on. Right at the 210 freeway at Sierra Madre Boulevard now is where this suspect is. You've got the LAPD helicopter that's still overhead. And yeah, I mean, we had kind of thought he's going to go into one of these neighborhoods and try to get out and bail. But he has spent so much time in the neighborhood and then has not done anything. Just kind of drives through these really dark neighborhoods back westbound Maple Street now from Altadena, or approaching Altadena now. So it's just, this kind of weird game that he's playing, and I don't know if he's just hoping that he's going to lose people or what exactly he thinks this is going to happen. He's just, paralleling the 210 freeway to the north now, in the, now we're in the Pasadena area.
And interesting, too, that he went into that parking garage at City of Hope. That's a massive parking garage. How many pursuits have we seen that end in a parking garage like that where the suspect gets out and bails?
because this is not, we have no idea who's in this car, right? The plates aren't registered to this driver.
Right.
So that would have been an opportunity potentially.
And usually northbound Altadena Drive now, just north of the 210, but usually we had, we've heard law enforcement, we heard CHP ask, does LAPD know anything about the driver? Do they know anything about the suspect? LAPD had nothing. And what's interesting is a lot of the times you see these guys when they're, ditching these stolen cars quick and being done with them, which makes you wonder, is there something about the truck that he doesn't want to give up that would potentially link him to other things? He's had ample opportunities to get out and run, and especially with the fact of knowing that law enforcement doesn't know who he is. He goes into a parking garage or into a neighborhood and just gets out and kind of walks, and that's about it. Westbound Orange Grove Boulevard now from Altadena is where this is. And again, Des and his pilot doing a great job tonight. Yeah. It's difficult because we've got the cloud layer, which basically is keeping us all at the same altitude. Usually we'll get on top of the law enforcement helicopters. We're not able to do that because there's a cloud layer ahead of us, or above us rather. They may have lost it.
Well, yeah, Mike, we're hearing here that they may have lost it and they are giving it up, and it is just it's so frustrating when you see a suspect endangering everyone the way that they were, and you really hate to say it, but it just seems like the way that they were driving and the fact that law enforcement refused to re-engage, it seems like all the driving that the suspect is doing was effective, and they have now evaded the law enforcement airship, or they're calling it off. We've got low clouds. We're not far away from the mountains. They were up into the mountains at one point. No one's been willing to engage the suspect on the ground, and if the vehicle is cold plated, then it'll come up again eventually. But unfortunately, it looks like the suspect. It's looking like they are going to get away.
Okay, well, Desmond, we understand that if you're going to stay up for a while, we may be able to get back to this if something happens. That's what we want our viewers to know. But in the meantime, we're going to move on to other news tonight.
All right, I've been letting you guys listen for the last 52 minutes or so since I started my live streaming. So in fact, want to thank you guys. I want to thank you guys for joining us here. I want to thank you guys for joining and tuning in to my live streaming on my YouTube channel. I want to thank you guys for tuning in on my YouTube channel for the live streaming, and I want to thank you guys for being part of this. And thank you guys for joining us. I want to thank you guys for subscribing to my YouTube channel, and I want to thank you guys for commenting down below on my YouTube shorts. For anybody who done a great job. I want to thank you guys for voting on for taking a vote on any luxury SUV, luxury car, luxury SUV, sports car, the luxury midsize import car. Thank you guys. Y'all deserve an applause. Because I want to thank you guys for joining us. Please, thanks for watching. Check out the video pops up here. And comment down below. Have a great night. And we'll see you tomorrow with pursuit of the burglary suspects near LAX. Thank you. Tune in tomorrow afternoon at 12:30 p.m. Thank you. Right? Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.